Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante, ladies and gentlemen, and all in between, as we're on part 5 of the Inquisitor path. Just to say that I am still doing the Conspirator path, but I've been told that you should complete the first two, the Noble and the Inquisitor first, before playing your way through the Conspirator. So I will be still uploading videos of it, but it's much slower than these two paths, because I want to get through these two so we can move on to the third one. So hope you're keeping well. Let's jump straight back in. We're at year 1131, chapter 2. We're still in adolescence, but we're getting closer and closer to finishing that off. And we're getting pretty good on our goal. I want to be around 7 to 8, as well as having nobility at around 4. So we should see what happens as we push on. Another school day has ended. You are making your way home, still mulling over the things you've learned from your teachers. The founding of the empire, the eternal and unshakable rule of a single dynasty, the 3 estates, each with their own rights. What an odd sort of order the world has, and yet so mysterious. At least it sounds that way when your teacher talks about it. Mother is waiting for you on the porch. She smiles gently when she sees you, and yet her expression still shows great concern. Father left on a trip to several distant Magran towns a few days ago. Since then, Mother has been trying to tell you something, but she seems uncertain. Son, could you put your things away and come pray with me? You join Mother in a prayer to the twins. She prays with fervent sincerity, her head bowed low, reciting the words of obedience to them and their great design in a barely audible whisper. You repeat after her just as she has taught you ever since you were a little boy. When the prayer ends, Mother sighs and turns to you. Jordan, my son, you are 13 now. You'll be grown soon. It is time you learned about certain things that are important to our family. Difficult things. It's about your father and me. About our marriage. You gaze curiously into Mother's eyes. I'm sure you've wondered about this before. Your father is a nobleman of the mantle, so how could he marry a commoner with another man's child? But you see, Jordan, your father, when his first wife Amalia Elborn died, it was a painful blow to him. He lost the will to live, lost all purpose. He felt like his own destiny was cut short that day as well. And then he met me. You know the troubles I had in the past. I went to the prefecture as a petitioner to ask them for help, protection, justice. When I was a young girl, I worked at a small shop that sold crockery and dishes. A nobleman took a liking to me. May his name be forgotten forever. The twins know I was humble and honoured his lot to rule, but he took me by force. Mother falls silent, summoning the courage to continue. Gloria is that nobleman's daughter, but he was outraged. How could I have the gall to burden him with low-born progeny? He turned me out on the street, with that little baby girl in my arms. Mother's voice is shaking now. You take her hand tenderly. I had no home, no honour, nowhere to go, no one to help me. When I went to the prefecture, I didn't really think the judges therefore would help me find justice against my former master. But when Sir Robert heard my plea, his eyes met mine, and I believed that at that very moment the twins themselves granted him the gift of their love. Your father told me that there was nothing he could do to make that detestable nobleman marry me, but he would never abandon me and baby Gloria, and if I agreed, he would take me into his home. Tears are running down Mother's cheeks. And I knew it, my son. I knew how much his honour and reputation would suffer, but caring for me brought him back to life. It's like he experienced another sacrament. He rediscovered his noble purpose, his lot to rule and protect and care for others, but his decision to marry me, he is still paying for it today. Your father had the courage to defy your grandfather, the founder of his bloodline. If only you knew how much he had to endure, my son. If only you knew the despicable rumours we heard about the Brantes all over Anizot. It was only thanks to the efforts of Sir Gregor that the Brante bloodline managed to hang on to what little remained of its reputation. And now the noble families have all but forgotten about the scandal. Thank the twins. Mother falls silent. She looks at you intently. Do you understand what she is telling you? My son, I am not telling you this just to share the pain of my past. I have no reason to complain, even though Sir Gregor has accepted me through gritted teeth. but you need to understand the heavy burden our family must bear, including our scandalous marriage and Gloria's foul origin. And Gloria, she can never be a Brante. Even if the elder Brantes agreed, the news would stir up the old scandal in the minds of high society, and if that were ever to happen, Jordan, they would see even your birth as illegitimate. Mother sighs heavily. What I told you just now is something you have to know, son. You are about to enter an adult life. By my lot, I must be humble. I cannot tell you how to treat your family. But may I ask you a question? Now that you know all of this, do you still see Gloria as your sister? So we can accept her as our sister, which will increase Mam and Gloria's reputation with us, distance ourselves, which gives us nobility, but they go down, or evade the question. So we're obviously not going to do that. We're going to accept Gloria as our sister. She still is. We're family. Filled with determination, you assure Mother that Gloria is and will always be your sister. You want Gloria to be a Brante too. You want her to be a part of your family. Who cares what the nobles of Anizot say? It's funny thinking about that, and my decision so far as a noble has been focusing on my reputation. Mother beams with quiet joy when she hears this. Oh, Jordan, if only you knew how happy that would make me, to have our family united at last. However, the joy on her face quickly gives way to concern. But I already owe good Sir Robert a debt I can never repay. He's given my daughter so much, a home, an education, his care and advice. The Brante bloodline could suffer so much from Gloria's existence. We should all just learn to accept her status as it is. Just then you hear Gloria carefully knock at the door of Mother's chambers. Mother, Jordan, I couldn't find you. You happily greet your sister. Yes, she is your sister. No old secrets can ever change that. Mother gives you and Gloria a kiss on the forehead and returns to her prayers. Nice, Gloria's gone up. You and your sister walk downstairs together. Mother is alone by her bedside now, thanking the twins with a quiet prayer for the Brante family they have given her. You hope they can hear her. And we're maxed at Mam, which is brilliant. So we don't have to worry about Mam going forward anymore. Let's focus on nobility if we can. I don't know how much the nobility plays into the clergy path, but one or two of the clergy, one or two of the clergy skills have come into the nobility path, so it's no harm having them good. You are 13 now. Sorry, year 1131. Fall. The flash and the flame. You are 13 now. Another theology lesson. Today's sermon is about the priests and why the clergy is the only one of the three estates with the right to interpret the lots and guide the other two estates accordingly. Tomas sits next to you, huffing and puffing as he fervently writes down the teacher's every word. But you've heard all this from Mother many times before, so you take this moment to daydream a little. Father promised to take you to the capital once your studies are complete. But the teacher suddenly casts a stern look around the lecture hall and raises his voice at one of your classmates. A boy by the name of Brian jumps out of his seat. The teacher asks him to repeat what he has just said. Brian freezes and seems to shrink. He tries to muster a reply, but nothing comes out. The class becomes agitated. Someone is about to get punished. The teacher now looms over Brian. The boy's cheeks are flushed, and his eyes are covered in tears. You all watch the teacher's iron-bound book as he raises it sharply about to strike. Brian shrieks and raises a hand in front of him. A sudden flash. The teacher screams and buries his face in his arms. His hair is ablaze and his skin is covered in horrible burns. It's magic. Real magic. Just like in the books about the Magra Rebellion. The class freezes in shock. There's a dull thud as the iron-bound book falls to the floor. Brian's hysterical laughter rends the silence. He stands up from his bench, fire in his eyes and sparks on his fingertips. There are screams now. Students run for the door. The teacher tries to extinguish his burning hair. Brian snaps his fingers and the book of Isatius on the desk turns into pillars of flames. He laughs and raises his arms and curtains catch fire. The screams grow louder as the fire howls. Brian's face is tense and violent. His mouth is spewing flames and his whole body is shaking with laughter. He steps toward the door. You and Tomas glance at each other. He's going to burn the whole school down. Your friend's determination makes you brave. You run behind Brian and knock him off his feet. You both tumble to the floor. Even through his clothes, his body sears your flesh. Brian screams, convulses and grabs Tomas by the shoulders with his burning hands. Tomas howls but stays put, then knocks Brian senseless with several blows to the head. There are servants fussing around the room now. They put out the fire and take away the teacher, his body covered in horrible burns. You and Tomas remain next to Brian, who is lying on the floor, silent. Soon, 3 men in black cloaks enter the doors of the school, each bearing an edict sealed with silver, the Inquisition. You and Tomas are told to step away from the witch. They lock Brian's neck in a silver collar and take him away. One of the Inquisitors remains behind to tell the students what happened. That was magic, he explains, the ungodly power that twists the minds of men into savage instruments of murder. Only the sacred shackles of silver can hold it at bay. Only the power of the twins can save us from its evil grasp. But wouldn't someone argue that the twins gave the power of magic? I'm sure we'll learn a bit more about that. The next day you're forbidden from ever mentioning Brian's name again. He is no more. I do know that magic plays more of a role in the clergy playthrough, so we'll learn more as we go on. Nice. Relationship with Tomas is going up. So we're doing quite well with relationships, I think. The nobleman's lot. We certainly don't have nobility high enough for the Blood Tide event, but anyway. A great day looms ahead. 100 years ago, Uther Tempest was anointed to rule over the Empire. Blessed by the twins themselves, the Emperor's reign continues into its 2nd century. Celebrations in honor of the Tempest dynasty are held throughout the city, and the school is closed for 2 weeks because of that. On one of these evenings, Father tells everyone that Grandfather is going to bring Stefan back home for the holiday. They say families should celebrate the day of anointment together. You could benefit from your elder brother's company. With his noble education, Stefan might be able to teach you how noblemen are supposed to act. Soon Stefan arrives. He now handles himself differently. When it comes to ordering servants around and ignoring Gloria, he is still Grandfather's double, but he is more grown up now and far less haughty to you. It is a dark winter evening. A damp, cold wind sweeps through the city from the barren lands of Magla. You and Stefan are sitting in the library. He is telling you all about Eterna, the capital of the Empire. It is full of so many wonders. The Imperial Palace, the enormous Temple of the Twins, the Military Academy, the Imperial College. You've read so much about these places, yet he has seen them firsthand. Nathan enters the library. He looks concerned. I can't find Gloria. I looked everywhere. She's not in the attic, not in the sitting room, not in the kitchen. I heard she wanted to sneak off to the ruins of Char Melanandas's palace. She could be lost in there. You and Stefan exchange looks. Charles Melanandas, the rebellious duke. The ruins of his palace are a dangerous place. Some children claim his tainted magic still lingers there, which means you absolutely have to make your way there and back again to prove you're not afraid of the long-dead witch. Your brother tells you to wait. He leaves and soon returns with his sword in his sheath. Get ready, Jordan. We're going to rescue Gloria. She must have gone to the ruins in search of inspiration for another one of her little rhymes. The 2 of you instruct Nathan to tell your parents you've gone for a walk in the square. You and your elder brother head outside. You are confused by Stefan's actions. He refuses to treat Gloria like a human being, so why is he still so determined to rescue her? Stefan notices your expression. Are you wondering why I care about Gloria all of a sudden? I can't act in any other way, can I? The law of honor compels me to protect my family. Gloria will never be a Brante, but Father still took her into our house. I must respect her seniority and defend Gloria like she is one of our own. You are a Brante too, noble or not, which means it is your duty to aid me. The ruins of Char Melanandas's palace span an entire district. The palace was abandoned centuries ago, and its remnants are overgrown with thick underbush. The ruined palace is empty, nothing but cold wind blowing over crumbling brickwork. Even the worst scum of the land steer clear of this place. You make your way through the ruins until you spot scattered sheets of paper covered in writing, your sister's writing. You hear loud laughter coming from behind, a dilapidated stone wall nearby. You pull yourself up to peer over it. Gloria is lying on the ground, face down, twitching and sobbing. A gaggle of drunk young thugs surround her, cackling and swinging their arms about. You hear their shouts. Look at the lass sitting here rhyming words together. She thinks she's all noble. But don't we worry, you low-born tot. We're going to teach you your place. One of the louds spits at Gloria as she lies there. Get away from her this instant, you bastards, or I'll spill your guts. They respond with mocking laughter. Stefan draws his sword. The street thugs recoil in fear, but they soon notice that he is only one armed man against many. They start reaching out for sticks and stones. Stay by my side, don't let them flank me. Stefan's hands shake, but he looks ready for battle. He is outnumbered. For a moment you hesitate. Perhaps it might be better to run for the nearby district and call for guards. The young thugs are already armed with makeshift weapons. They start approaching you and Stefan cautiously. So we can charge the attackers, which gives +2 with Stefan. That's interesting actually. I thought that would lead to a death when I first chose it. When I first didn't choose it. I chose his orders, which gives us nobility and Stefan +2, which we're definitely going to do because it's much better. I don't mind losing willpower. We need nobility and gives +2 with Stefan. And we can call the guards, which gives ingenuity, and Stefan doesn't care about it. So we're going to follow our brother's orders. See, this proves my thinking that the locked options generally present the better results. Like we're getting nobility +1 and Stefan +2. Here we're just getting Stefan +2. So we're going to follow our brother's orders. Stefan's firm voice fills you with confidence. You follow your noble brother's orders. It takes a moment to grab a stick, and then you are at Stefan's back, angrily swinging at the louts as they try to bring him down. One of the louts lunges at your brother with a stone, but you hit him with a stick and he falls down right at Stefan's feet. His sword flashes. The blade sinks deep into the young man's stomach. He wheezes. Blood starts pouring onto the ground. The thug freezes. Stefan pulls the sword out, his face an inscrutable mask, and he returns to his fighting stance. You are stunned to see Stefan take another man's life so easily and effortlessly, like picking his own teeth. The thugs look like they are about to flee. There is rage and confusion on their faces. They never expected the young nobleman to use that sword. Stefan just scoffs at them. Low-born scum, that's all you are. This is the only language you understand. Good job, brother. Gloria, get up, we're going home. He turns to glance at your sister, giving you the enraged thugs just enough time to rush you. You get separated from Stefan. Your back is against the wall now. They hit you hard in the stomach, then in the face, then the side of the head. Then your mind slips away. When the darkness disperses, you find yourself lying in your bed. Stefan is in an armchair next to you reading a book. He's alive! With left arm in a sling and a black eye, but still alive. Your head is spinning and you feel nauseous, but you try your best to sit up. Stefan looks up from the book. Don't try to get up, you lost a lot of blood. I suppose there are a few thugs too many for a single warrior, even with good backup. I'm impressed, we fought like an army. The noble orders, the commoner obeys, all according to our lots. We defended the family's honour together. You know, brother, the nobleman's lot is also a great burden that few are able to bear. It takes courage not to fight everything you see, but to do your duty. Each and every decision a nobleman makes becomes a part of his family's legacy, flowing in the blood tide forever. I think about it often. A noble mustn't act weak. A noble mustn't suffer like people of the lowborn lot. A noble must rule over them wisely. A noble must ensure that they have work to do. It's not merely your own lot. You have to look after, you have to ensure that 1,000 others can live by their lot as well. And there are so many more matters to take care of. Honour, dignity, tradition. It's tough, but it's what it takes to be a nobleman. Do you understand what I'm talking about? I certainly do, from playing the nobleman's path and probably failing, and we'll see how that turns out. I kind of regret not taking the offer to become future prefect. There's approval in your brother's eyes for the first time in a long while. +2, nice. And he treats me as usual, so nothing changed with that. It was a pleasure to fight side by side, brother. But now honourable, which is great, and I'm only 3-4-2 away from being a noble. Hopefully we can get it before the end of adolescence, but you never know. (1131) Chapter 2, Trial of the Assailants. Before long, the entire city hears how a gang of lowborn thugs assaulted Stefan Brante. Grandfather ensures that the brash young men are found. Some of them are taken into custody as soon as lesser debt releases them. Grandfather seeks vengeance on those who hurt his favourite grandson. Prefect Elborn, a friend of your family, promises to personally oversee the trial and ensure that justice is served. Stefan and Grandfather decide to stay in Anizon until the trial ends. Grandfather demands true death for every single assailant. You ask Father to explain something. How can a legal court sentence criminals to true death? How can worldly judgment overrule the twins' law? Your words are true, my son. Their law is second to none. Yet the twin gods also made the empire and all its ways. The court of law exists to execute the laws of heaven here in the world. Should the court of law sentence a person to death, the law high above will always enforce it, and so every execution brings true death. The commoners who assaulted Stefan, a born nobleman, have committed a grave offence, there is no doubt about that. And yet, according to the Emperor's decree, even commoners have the right to defend themselves when they are about to face true death. This means that all of us will have to appear at the trial and testify before the court. Evening comes. Gloria visits your room. She looks crestfallen, and her fingers keep reaching for her long hair. You put away your school books and ask what is bothering her. The trial is tomorrow. I thought I was going to appear there too as an eyewitness. After all, this whole mess started because of me. But Sir Robert isn't even going to mention that I was there. Can you imagine? He says it would ruin the case. Why am I always in the way? Nobody ever mentions me. Nobody has to listen to me. It's like I don't even exist. And I thought Stefan standing up for me finally meant something. Maybe I will become part of the family. But no, everything is back to usual now. Gloria tries her best to hold back the tears. You do your best to comfort her. Father just needs to keep the family out of trouble. If Sir Robert believes that I only bring trouble, why did he take me into his house at all? Gloria runs away. You return to your books, but you cannot help get lost in thought. What if they told the court you weren't there either? How would you feel then? There is a knock at the door. It is Father. He closes the door behind him and sits next to him. There is an exhausted look about him. Son, you will be testifying before the court tomorrow. Please remember what I'm about to tell you. Gloria wasn't at the ruins at all. You went there with your brother to inspect this historic site. The lowball men insulted Stefan first and then attacked him. Stefan had managed to deal with the assailants on his own by the time the guards intervened. Gloria will cast suspicion on the case. If we mention her existence at the court, the reputation of the family will suffer. Your grandfather will never forgive me if that happens. Do not let me down. We are all counting on you. You recall the night of the fight like it was a moment ago. Gloria sprawled under the feet of those cackling thugs, her poetry, her greatest treasure scattered on the ground. She thinks she's all noble. Those were the words they spat down at her. But doesn't grandfather mean the same thing when he doesn't deny that she is part of the family? Well, if you do what father tells you, the trial will end quickly. Those commoners will face true death for assaulting a noble. If you mention Gloria, things will get complicated and you cannot predict how the trial will end. What is more important to you? What is right, or what is just? Oh wow, that would have been really good. Crap. I don't have that because of one relationship with my father. God, in this game you're always missing one. That would have given me unity. I don't care about reputation, but unity is what I want, plus nobility and spirituality. Support father gives me a reputation and father relationship. Lying to father gives me ingenuity. Oh, so I don't even get fucking nobility for any of these options. And unity goes down either way. Bollocks. That's a real shame. That's such a blow. God, what could I have done to get father's relationship up? Alright, I'm just going to support father in this. If we're going to lose, we might as well gain something. But I'm going to, I don't really care about reputation in this playthrough. I want to just focus on family unity. But I'm not going to lie, because that just gives me ingenuity. So all I can do is support father. But oh, that's such a good option to get though. Like nobility and spirituality and unity. All the three things that I want. And I can't have because of one option. Where I chose the wrong thing. Anyway, support father. No point crying about it. You nod in agreement. You'll follow the family's plan for the trial to the letter. A faint smile appears on father's fatigued face. Thank you, son. This is an important case for our family, and for me as well. I appreciate your support. The day comes. The trial takes place in the lesser hall of the city prefecture. Sir Elbon himself presides as a judge. You are seated next to Father and Stefan. You testify to the court one after another. You echo your brother's testimony to the letter. The young commoners insulted you as you were both walking by the ruins. Then they assaulted you. Stefan defended you. The lives of the four boy thugs are forfeit. Sir Elbon rises to deliver the sentence. The court of any judges you guilty of assaulting Stefan Brante, a nobleman. All four defendants are sentenced to true death by hanging. Jesus Christ. They're gonna die for that. God, I'm so disappointed about that decision. One fucking relationship point. Anyway, there'll be plenty of more opportunities for unity. But not that many more for nobility. But anyway. There is no wind, but you feel a gust sweep through the hall. The defendants turn pale. Their mothers are bawling and crying. Everyone in the court feels the dreadful power of the law, and it is stern and just. That very power has been evoked by this sentence, and by that very sentence the lives of 4 young men are literally forfeit for all eternity. The gallows awaits. Stefan and grandfather stand in the front row. The wood creaks. The trapdoors open under the young men's feet. They dangle in the air, wheezing and reaching out for support with their feet in their final moments. Father lets out an inaudible sigh of relief. It is all over now. When Gloria comes back home the day after, she refuses to eat dinner and locks herself in her room. Before she leaves, however, you notice a scratch on her face and her hair is dishevelled. You go to her room and knock at the door, but she will not open. Then she finally replies she has already gone to bed and you should leave. Father's happy. Well, we need a +2 for that decision. Did you do the right thing during the trial? Your sister is still being bullied. No one knows she has a family to defend her, and Gloria doesn't want to be defended now. Those 4 commoners saw no mercy. Their lives ended for assaulting a nobleman. What did you seek to prove with this, and to whom? Was it worth it in the end? No, it wasn't. Unity down. We're into disagreements. We need to get up to peace, and we have tarnished honour still. Not a good one for us, but I might start actually writing a guide for this game, because I'm getting so much experience with these 3 playthroughs. We're only about 5 events away from the end of adolescence. I don't know if we're going to get nobility in time. Anyway, one more event. Agony. Stefan leaves soon after the trial, alone. Grandfather does not go with him. For the first time in a long while, he lingers in the house for more than a fortnight. Father says Sir Gregor is ill and needs rest. Several months go by and it becomes clear that grandfather will not recover. The eldest Brante is mostly bedridden now. On some days he has trouble recognizing people. When he means to address you or Nathan, he calls you Robert, your father's name. But when he does get out of bed, the house grows empty, the servants hide, Mother locks herself in their chambers. You and Nathan run outside or hide quietly in your rooms. If grandfather sees anyone in the hallway, he begins lamenting. Oh, nobody heeds the lots anymore. Any harlot with a child can marry a nobleman these days. Children have no respect. His son betrayed him and let him down. And oh, how the Brante family has lost its honour. Again and again you hear grandfather knocking at Mother's door, screaming that it is all her fault. He blames her for ruining his chances to find bliss in the hereafter. He blames her for dooming him to suffer at the foot of the pillar. You overhear your parents talking one night. Mother begs father to move Sir Gregor to his old home and spare the children his decline. Father refuses her outright. It is late at night. The hot, dry winds are coming. The house is empty save for you, Nathan, Gloria, Mother and grandfather in his bed. Father has left for the capital on business. You are engrossed in history of this empire, snapping out of your reverie only when the clock strikes midnight. You blow out the candle and get ready for bed. You hear the shuffling of heavy feet outside at your door. You see light in the hallway. Grandfather, what could he want in the middle of the night? You peek into the hallway once he is past. Grandfather's figure sways as he heads for the door to Mother's chambers. He opens the door and walks in. You hear him say something quietly. Your unease is stronger than your fear now. You sneak closer to hear his words. You foul commoner, I have to cleanse my sins. I have to save my soul. You are my greatest sin, you and what you have done to Robert and his family. I should have put a stop to this marriage. I should have stopped Robert from tainting this house by your presence. Why, oh why did I do it? Please, Sir Brante, I beg of you. Silence, you will do my bidding. Fire will cleanse all low-born filth from this place. Fire, fire and flame will free Robert from his disgrace. This is for my son's sake, for my son's sake, for my sake. I need to eradicate this low-born filth. The twins, they are calling for me now. I can feel it, I can feel it. I beg of you, please, have mercy. Mother begins to cry. You run into the room, unable to stay out of this any longer. Grandfather's gaunt figure looms over Mother's bed, a lit oil lamp in his hand. Mother is sprawled out on her bed crying. Please, just let me warn the children, I beg of you, Sir Brante. Your steps are loud enough to be heard. Grandfather turns to look at you. Stay out of this, Jordan. Be useful for once. Worldly matters concern me no longer. I see only my sins now, and a sinner I am, a sinner. The twins, they forgive no one. They will judge me by the pillar. I must do something. I do not want to suffer for all eternity. Go away. Mother was crying. Grandfather was still looming over the bed. Driven to madness, his hand shakes as it clutches the oil lamp. His eyes shine in the darkness. He truly believes that this has to be done. You are suddenly torn. What if he's right? What if this is the only way for his soul to find salvation? There's no going back now. You have but a moment to act. Oh my god, that's not what I thought would happen. Wealth goes down because his house gets destroyed. Nobility goes up, ingenuity goes up, spirituality goes up +2, death goes up 1. Gregor Brante dies a true death. Our mother doesn't like us a little bit. That's actually something I have to consider. We stop him and we get nobility and ingenuity, or we run away to rescue Nathan and Gloria. Ingenuity, spirituality, and wealth goes down. What's good about this is that we get 2 spirituality and ingenuity and nobility. But Mam doesn't like us a little bit, and we lose wealth. This gives 1 spirituality. Oh. This means we die. But it means everyone dies. God, I don't know if a death is worth 4. I mean, it's pretty good, to be honest. Decreases our wealth though. Where does wealth put us? 4. You know what, I'm gonna do it because I've done it before. Let it happen as grandfather wishes. Oh god. You drop your hands as the grief in grandfather's eyes pierces your heart. He is staring true death in the face. Those who grow old do not return from the hereafter. What fate awaits him there? The nobleman's lot is to rule, but his helpless inability to fulfill his lot, within his own family no less, is causing him so much suffering. You look at grandfather's face lit by the lamp, distorted by unyielding wrath. His force of will astounds you, even if he is using this will to choose his own demise. To submit to this will is your duty. It is the duty of every single person in this house. You cannot deny him. The lamp smashes across the floor, the carpets, the curtains, the walls. It takes a moment for the flames to engulf the entire room. Grandfather's hands go up as he intones a loud prayer to the twins. You have known these words all your life, but never have they sound so solemn. His eyes look away, high above, his face a still mass reflected in the flickering flames. He smiles. You take Mother's hand. She is crying and shaking violently, yet she will not run. She knows it too. It is her duty to stay here. There is only one thing you can do for her, and you can recite a prayer to her as loud as you can, again and again, and again, until the acrid smoke finally fills your lungs and takes your breath away. Gloria and Nathan are fast asleep, so they will perish before the fire seizes them. This is your final thought before a lesser death claims you. I've never done 2 deaths before in this game. Impenetrable darkness surrounds you. You stand alone, bare to your very essence. It paralyzes you. You have an urge to cover yourself, to hide. No one should see you so vulnerable, but you cannot conceal the truth in this place. You are bathed in an unbearably bright light. It has no hint of warmth in it. It is blinding. It leaves no shadow in the entire world. It is the light of the shining pillar itself. In this radiance you can clearly see all your thoughts and doubts, your errors and transgressions, the contradictions that have permeated you since birth. They cover you from head to toe, like rough grey tatters. But they melt away in this light. You are naked. You feel liberated and whole. It is as though all the wounds and cracks in your soul have been healed, making it the way it should be. It is as though the scales have fallen from your eyes. You see the true shapes of things now. These are the laws by which the world abides, the grand design that moves life itself. You tread a path that is barely visible in the blinding light, giving shape to everything. In this light you see infinity complexity of the world, from the tiniest leaf to the enormity of the empire, and this world manifests its balance by virtue of the law that was embedded in it during the act of creation. Ahead of you, 2 figures are waiting on the path. They are gigantic, many times taller than a man. The elder holds a lash, the younger a sword. The younger gazes at you sternly, coldly. You kneel obediently before him and lower your head. The god raises his sword above you. This is divine retribution. There is no law without it, nor can there be. Every action has consequences. This is what shapes the world, making its very existence possible. In this moment, beneath the gaze of the merciless god, you comprehend the law that binds the entire world together. Which manifestation of the law will you live by? Let's say family. The blade flashes. The younger's sword slashes through the air above your head. You do not yet deserve your final punishment. The law demands that you have continued your life. Your form has not been completely destroyed, nor is it that of the world. The younger extends a gigantic hand and shows you the way. You must proceed. The path leads you to the top of the crown of the silver tree, spread wide in the white gleam. The branches are close now. It is time to descend. You are drawn downward into the darkness. The shadows that had disappeared in the blinding glow creep around you and envelop you. This has to be expected, but the purity and clarity of spirit are still with you. Something is forcing your throat open. Air. It scratches you on the inside. Your soul is filled with struggle again, with the contradictions from which the fabric of the world and you are worn. The divine light that gave you clarity is fading away with each passing moment. You have to open your eyes. Above you is the dark ceiling of the crypt. You are reborn. God, I don't know if having a second death is a good idea. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the next episode, and let me know what you think about the decisions. Take care and have a nice day.